Nat, until I read your story this week about how more corporations are becoming angel investors, I didn't realize that it was odd for corporations to be angel investors. Until I read around and realized that angel investors are essentially the equivalent of your very rich uncle. You know, the one with a fleet of cars and everything. So it is not normal for corporations to be angel investors?
Yeah, so typically angel investors are the people who invest in very, very early stage startups. So imagine like you're a startup founder and you need money, you're just starting out. So you will look for money from your rich relatives, rich friends, rich connections, who are typically individuals who want to help founders start a company. So corporations, maybe some did, but what Malaysian Business Angel Network is trying to do is to make it official to bring in corporations as accredited angel investors.
Okay, so basically, I understand that because corporations, they tend to want a sure deal. They don't want to invest in an idea, which is a lot of what angel investors kind of do, right? So when you say accredited, like how so? An official VC arm? Do not a lot of corporations have a VC arm these days?
So a lot of corporations do have a VC arm. So MBAN, they are the body in Malaysia that is in charge of accrediting angel investors and angel investing clubs so that they can qualify for tax incentives, for example. And they also have a lot of activities and workshops where they bring in startups to pitch to investors, and they have workshops. So the idea is to bring in corporations as angel investors, bring them into the circle, educate them about how to identify startups and build a portfolio of very early stage startups, and perhaps build ecosystem knowledge as well. So that is what MBAN is trying to do with this program.
All right, so what has changed? Why are corporations now more willing to take a bet in at bottom level?
So according
bottom level.
Yeah, according to MBAN, it's because tech innovation basically is occurring at a very rapid pace, and for corporations, large corporations to change, it will often take a lot of time, and sometimes the fastest way to do that is either by working with the startup, which already has a technology available, or acquiring a startup, investing in a startup. So that is why a lot of companies, even Google, Intel, Qualcomm in the US, are investing in startups in order to jumpstart their innovation journey.
So with all of that in place, what kind of returns are corporations looking for in startups? Are they okay for startups to go nowhere? Is that the indication? Because most time when people want to put money in, they want to see money out. And let's be frank, how many % of startups never make it off the ground?
Yeah, so it is definitely very risky to invest in early stage startups. So when I spoke to MBAN about this, corporates, they would invest in startups for a few reasons. So some would invest purely for the returns. So those would have to be very careful. They might not go for super early stage startups. They will need to have a very diversified and wide portfolio of companies. And some other corporations invest in startups because they want to work with the startup to innovate. So in that sense, they're not just aiming for pure returns. They're aiming for collaboration and perhaps to bring in technology into their own companies. So two different ways of looking at it.
Okay. So after accreditation, what happens? Let's say I'm a startup, I'm looking for funds too. What does that mean for the SME community in Malaysia?
So for the startups, they can approach MBAN to pitch to the potential investors. And so this basically increases the pool of potential investors for them. That's one. Secondly, as well, they would get an opportunity to validate their technology, because for startups, if they are able to test their technologies in a corporation, it's a very qualified partner that they can work with. And if they are able to have a successful collaboration, perhaps this would increase their credibility in the future, increase their valuations if they're successful, and have more successful follow-up funding rounds.
For more on the stories, pick up a copy of The Edge Weekly at all good newsstands.